Dear friends, this is episode number 83 of the Code of Civil Procedure. A few months back, I had completed up to episode number 82 and then promised that I will come back and deal with those subjects which were not dealt with in episodes 1 to 82. I have also told you the reason why the CPC was not taken from section 1 onwards. Several topics were dealt with at the National University of Advanced Legal Studies, and only the balance portion which were not taken there I had dealt with and uploaded in the YouTube. Therefore, the viewers may please note that it is not from section 1 onwards. It is here and there. Please bear with me. Now, we will deal with those topics which were not dealt with earlier. I also hope that I will be able to upload one video each day and thereby complete the subject. So, this is episode number 83. We will deal with section 2. Section 2, various subsections are there. I will first say about subsection 1. Section 2 says that in this act, unless there is anything repugnant in the subject or context, then comes the subsections. So this is applicable to all the subsections. Code includes rules. Code includes rules. What is this code? Code of Civil Procedure. What is rules? Rules which are contained in the various orders, in the schedule. So after the sections are over, there is a schedule. And in the schedule, there are several orders, and under each order, there are rules. There are some orders which are very lengthy. For example, Order 21, it contains 106 rules. There are certain orders which contains only a few, 5 or 6 rules. Likewise, what is the sanctity of the orders and rules? CPC is promulgated, it's enacted by the Parliament. Orders and rules also. But the state can amend the orders and rules. Where is the power? Power you will get under section 122 of the CPC. 122, power of certain High Court to make rules. Section 121 says, effect of the rules in the first schedule. The rules in the first schedule shall have effect as if enacted in the body of this code until annulled or altered in accordance with the provisions of this part. This is part 10. It contains rules 121 to 131. That is part 10. So, section 121 says that the rules in the first schedule will have effect as if it is enacted in the body of this code until annulled or altered in accordance with the provisions of this part. So the provisions of part 10 contains a set of rules by which the state can, high courts can, in each state can alter or amend, annul or alter the various provisions in the orders and rules. Sections the High Court cannot touch. One thing to be noted is that in every High Court there is a rule committee. Rule committee is constituted under section 123 of the CPC, Constitution of the Rule Committee. The rule committee consists of the following persons: 3 judges of the High Court, normally senior-most judges of the High Court, then 2 legal practitioners, then a judge of the civil court subordinate to the High Court, that will be most probably the local district judge. Then the members of each committee shall be appointed by the High Court, the Chief Justice will appoint. Now, what is that? This rule committee is a statutory committee, very powerful committee. The committee will suggest certain changes to be effected or certain orders and rules to be annulled in the particular state, and the rule committee will make the report. That report will be placed before the full court. Full court means the meeting of all the judges in the particular High Court. That is what is called full court. If the full court approves it, it will go to the government, and the government approves it, it will be notified, and that becomes the order or rule, as the case may be, in the particular state. For example, there are orders and rules. For example, Order 34 relating to mortgage suits. In our state, that is the state of Kerala, Order 34 was amended several years ago. Order 34 provides for a preliminary decree and a final decree. But in our state, a composite decree could be passed. Then after 1976 amendment of CPC, those rules, unless reenacted, it will have no effect because the CPC amendment came. Likewise in 1999 and 2002 amendments came. And after 1976 amendment, the Order 34 was reenacted and it was a composite decree in the Kerala state. Now I do not know what is the position after 2000 amendment, 2002 amendment. I don't think that it is reenacted, and therefore the central rules will apply. So unless altered and annulled or altered in accordance with Part 10, the central rules will prevail. It can be modified according to, that is to make it flexible, because a particular state of affairs available in the state of Kerala or in Tamil Nadu may not be the state of affairs in UP or Bihar or Jammu and Kashmir or Orissa or northeast states. Therefore, to suit the convenience of the litigants, the parties and all concerned, it is necessary to have some flexibility, to have ease of application, for which this provision has been made. This is CPC 1908 Act, 1908 Code. Before 1908, the CPC contained sections originally, just like CRPC and IPC, more than 500 odd sections. And it was in 1908 that this sections and then schedule which contains the orders and rules was made. And this provision has been introduced. Therefore, it is very handy, flexible, ease of application is there, and therefore the litigants of different states need not have the trouble of following certain rigid rules which they find it difficult to apply to their states. See, there may be, for example, Lakshadweep Islands. During monsoon, there is no means of access to the mainland. The High Court is Kerala High Court. So there is no access to the mainland. Ships will not come. Therefore, there is a provision by which the Limitation Act will stand suspended for 3 months or 2 months, so that the Lakshadweep people will have no fear of their appeals being barred by limitation. Likewise, it is necessary to have flexibility and ease of application, and that is why these provisions have been made. Please read section 121 to 132 and please understand the scope of the powers of the rule committee and the powers of the High Court, powers of the state, and the effect. And any rule altered or amended or annulled by the state, by the High Court, should not run contrary to the main body of the code, that is the sections. If a particular rule made by the state is offense is contrary to or contradictory to the section, the particular rule will go, it will have no existence. So please note that also. So that when you see the CPC, there will be High Court amendments. After every section, High Court amendment, UP, Bihar, Kerala, this and that. That is this amendment. So that before application of the particular orders and rules, please ensure that is the rule in your state. So if you have a CPC with you, which is published by a central agency, say likewise Universal or something like that, that is the central CPC. That particular order may not be in a particular order or a particular rule may not be like that in your state. So you must have a book with state amendments. Then only you will be able to apply that particular rule to your case in that particular state. So please note that also. Now we go to section 2. 2.2 decree. That is a very important definition. I propose to deal with it elaborately because it is not only the section and the interpretation thereunder. I propose to cite several decisions on that point because it is varied aspects, varied angles, so that the practitioners as well as the law students who later become the practitioners will be able to understand the scope of a decree, scope of an order, scope of the judgment, like that. Therefore, please bear with me. I will be dealing with the section 2.2 in great detail. And I hope that it will be beneficial to you in future. Let us see section 2.2. What is decree? Definition. That you must be able to say by heart. So that all the ingredients, it is not studying by heart without understanding the meaning. What is decree? Decree means the formal expression of an adjudication, which so far as regards the court expressing it, conclusively determines the rights of parties with regard to all or any of the matters in controversy in the suit, and may be either preliminary or final. So, what is it? Formal expression of an adjudication. So, there is an adjudication involved, and that is formally expressed. To become a decree, it must be formally expressed of what is there contained in the adjudication. Formal expression of an adjudication, which so far as regards the court expressing it, conclusively determines the rights of parties. So, to constitute a decree, there must be a conclusive determination of the rights of parties. Take for example, in contradistinction to an interlocutory order. I file a suit for recovery of possession, or for injunction, or for declaration. I file an application for temporary injunction, interlocutory application. That interlocutory application is decided one way or other. That will have life only till the suit is disposed of. It is a formal expression of an adjudication, but it is an order, not a decree. Order is defined. Judgment is defined. We will go to that later. So, conclusively determines the rights of parties. With regard to what? With regard to all or any of the matters in controversy in the suit. Several matters in controversy in the suit. You know that a plaint is presented. Suit commences by presentation of a plaint. The defendant will have an opportunity to file a written statement. Then the court will frame issues. What are the points to be considered? Issues will be answered one after the other. And the decision on those issues will become the judgment. Reasons for the decree. And the judgment, the operative portion of the judgment, and what are decided as per the judgment will be contained in the decree. The judgment may run to 50 pages, but the decree may be the operative portion of it, 2 or 3 pages. So for the purpose of execution, it is not the judgment that matters, but the decree that matters. So decree is the executable portion of it, formal expression of an adjudication. Suppose I file a suit against you on the basis of a promissory note. The suit is decreed for realization of money. The judgment contains that the promissory note, the decision on the with respect to the matters in controversy, you dispute the genuineness of the promissory note. That will be contained in the judgment. Promissory note is genuine. Passing of consideration, all right. Then, did the defendant pay it back? No, he did not pay. Therefore, money is due. Therefore, the plaintiff is entitled to get a decree. And the suit is decreed. What about interest, costs, and all other things? That also will be provided in the judgment under various issues. And the decree contains that what is that adjudication. You get a copy of the decree from court and see how it is drafted. Judgment is written by the judge, either dictated to the stenographer, then transcribed by him and then corrected and pronounced, or handwritten. Formerly handwritten judgments were there at the time of British rule. Handwritten judgments were there. But now it is not so. And then it will be signed by the judge. Decree also will be signed by the judge, but the decree will be prepared by the decree clerk in the court office. He will read the judgment, what is the operative portion of it, he will write it. And then it will be signed by the judge. Of course, it is the signatory is the judge. But it is being prepared later after pronouncement of the judgment. Say, rule says within 15 days, sometimes it may, going by priority, it may take 2 months, 3 months like that. You will get the decree. So, conclusively determines the rights of parties with regard to all or any of the matters in controversy in the suit, and may be either preliminary or final. So, there is a preliminary decree and a final decree. Not in all cases. Say for example a suit for partition, suit for settlement of accounts, partnership, dissolution of partnership, settlement of accounts, all those things. There, see, I file a suit claiming that I am entitled to 1/10 share in 10 items of property. The properties are scheduled in the plate. I am entitled to 1/10 is my case. The defendants, there are several defendants. Defendants may have varied contentions. Some may support me. Some may say that the suit for partition is not maintainable. I am not entitled to a share. Some may say some of the items are not partible because they have got special rights over the same. Likewise, all those contentions will be raised. And then under distinct issues, the court will come to the conclusion, one, whether the suit is maintainable, whether the suit properties are partible, what is the share to which the parties are entitled to, shares will be declared, and all other rights will be decided. Then what? I will not get possession by passing that judgment and decree. I am not going to get possession of the property straight away, for which some more formalities are required. So a preliminary decree will be passed. Thereafter, I have to make an application to pass a final decree. In the final decree proceedings, either the collector or court commissioner will measure the property and then decide the manner in which the properties should be divided in specie among the sharers. In our state, it is court commissioner advocates will be appointed as commissioners, and they will visit the property and decide what are all the plots to be allotted to different sharers. And report will be submitted to the court, and that report will contain the schedule of the different sharers, and then value the same, value of improvements, total value, the value to which a sharer is entitled to, and the value of the plot which is allotted to him, and then the difference. There may be sometimes excess, sometimes less. And that will be compensated from the persons who have been allotted more shares, more property, more valuable property. And that is what is called OWLT amount. OWELTY, OWLT amount. Equalization of shares. Then the stamp duty also will be mentioned in the report, and that will be registered. Then it becomes a partition deed, as if the parties have executed the partition deed. That is a process by which I just mentioned about the process for the beginners. Just to mention the process by which it is being done. It is preliminary or final. So a suit for realization of money, there is no necessity to pass a preliminary decree and a final decree. Straight away decree will be passed after adjudication. Judgment will be passed. Following that, the decree will be passed. Therefore, it is not necessary to have a preliminary decree. Suppose a dissolution of partnership and settlement of accounts. Partnership will be dissolved by the judgment and decree, then the accounts will be settled later in the final decree proceedings. Likewise, partition. So, it is a decree, may be either preliminary or final, depending upon the nature of the suit. We will deal with the rest of the section 2 in the next episode. Thank you.